Hello, my name is Diana Dietrich, and welcome to KPIN TV's Pounding the Pavement series, where we bring insight from innovators and entrepreneurs to help you realize your vision and bring your dream to life. I'm here today with Rod Baker, CEO and founder of Rod Allen, wardrobe consultant for corporate and individual professionals. Rod, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to be here with you. I've gotten to know you a little bit, which is great. And you know, we're here today to help others who are starting their businesses and giving them some insight as to what they can do and maybe not do. You have a great success story, 30 years in the business. Can you share with our viewers how you got started in this industry and how you took your passion and brought it to life?
You know, it started when I was in college. Even though I've always loved clothes, I don't know why, but it was always something that was a real passion for me. I had the first opportunity to get into retail when I was in college. And the one thing that I learned at that time is the difficulty that people had with finding what they wanted to wear, with being able to, if you will, communicate what they wanted to communicate, whether it was going out on a date or going to the ball game or for business or whatever that they were looking to do. They just didn't know. And what I realized is that the things that I loved that was in that store, I could put on people and make them look good, and it was exactly what they wanted. And I realized the struggle that they had in going in there. It was just like going to a different planet, and they had no idea, what in the world am I going to get? What in the world, you know, guys were a little different because they were destination. I need a shirt. But the women were, I don't know what to get. And so I found that my passion could really help them. And I think that was the defining moment for me of why I wanted to do it. The other thing is I only made a few dollars an hour, and so it was almost like working for free. And I had always learned that if you're willing to do something for free and love it, that's probably something that you should do for a living or a career. And so that's kind of where I found it.
And you did. You took your passion and brought it to life. And 30 years later, we're here in your beautiful showroom.
Thank you.
So at some point, Rod, you went from being working for somebody else, right, to wanting to be your own boss, if you will. But along the way, you've had, obviously, 30 years, some challenges, some lots of successes. We know that. One of the stories that you shared with me earlier was how you saw a niche, if you will, through television. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it actually came to me when I moved out to California about 22 years ago, and I was watching an ESPN program, being the sports fan that I am, and I had noticed that the host on that show was terribly dressed. It just didn't work for him. And me, being in the clothing business, I thought, you know, I could really help that person. Or I probably thought first, someone should call that person. Someone should let them know that they could do so much better. And you know what? I decided to call him myself, and I reached out to him, and my first pursuit was to be able to redress the host and get it to where he really looked the part, because he was an unbelievable interviewer and probably one of the best in the industry. And then what came to me is that I would be on a show that some of the biggest athletes in the world came to and were interviewed. And I thought that, you know what they would love is my clothes. And if I could just figure out a way of getting them into my clothes, it would be a win-win for both of us. And so what happened is I worked it out with ESPN to where I could make them a handmade gift for being on the show. And I was right there in the green room before the show or after the show measuring them for a handmade gift. Well, it didn't take very long, sometimes right there on the show, for them to go, well, give me it all. And so I got an opportunity to make clothes for some of the biggest athletes of all time. And it was quite extraordinary experience.
Oh, I love that story.
It's gone on. I still have the opportunity to make clothes for a lot of those people.
Well, so what you did was you did something that most people wouldn't do for the most part. I mean, how many people would call a television station and and say, this is my idea, right? And they let you do that, and from that, as you said, it propelled you into other things. You know, a lot of people do have challenges, especially as they start their businesses, of knowing how to promote themselves, obviously. I mean, the traditional promotional items coffee cups or mugs, things like that. You took it to a whole new level and personalized it, which is really unique. You were able to see the niche and fill it, if you will. And you went from having corporate clients to having movie stars and sports figures. And that was through basically looking and seeing where the need was in the market. What would you say to others that have a product or a company that they want to put out in a big way? Obviously, you've had some challenges along the way. You didn't start out being that bold, probably, I would imagine. Can you share with our audience maybe some of the challenges that you went through in getting to that point where you were that bold to do that?
It's something. If I tried to focus on all of the rejections that I've had, being a person that's a real people person, rejection was one of the toughest things for me. When somebody would be like, "No, I'm okay. I don't need you," or "I don't like you," that for my personality, that was a real hard thing to overcome. But it was something that I learned that it was just part of business. Starting at 19, it was something that I wasn't quite as mature in that way. Now it doesn't faze me if somebody doesn't want my service or my expertise. I'm okay. In fact, I look at it opposite. It's their loss. So that was one of the things. But I don't remember all of those defeats. The thing that I remember the most are the victories. And I think that one of the things that I would encourage an entrepreneur is to not focus on the defeats or the rejection. Focus on the victories, because the victories is when you look back on your career 30 years ago, you'll remember all of those success stories like the ESPNs, the people that I was able to meet. I don't remember the people that said, "No, I'm all right," and kind of shunned me out. Well, that's okay. But I remember the people that went, "You're the greatest." I remember those, and that would be one of the things that I would say to an entrepreneur. One of the other pitfalls for me was a lot of the outside influence. A lot of the designers out there and their ideas. My approach has always been to get to know the individual, to help them to dress, to get to know their heart and their passions and their personality first. And, I think that a lot of the designer community out there, even though they do some incredible stuff, they're really looking to their ideas and put it onto people instead of getting to know that person first and helping them to bring out their personality and their passions in what they wear. So what they are communicating is truly who they are. And that's kind of my take on my business, is to dress people from the inside out, not from the outside in.
Well, how do you translate that into corporate America? We had talked earlier a little about your vision for the future, on a larger scale, if you will. You're taking that individual person, but you're also translating that to groups of individuals and corporations. Yeah. How does that fit along with that?
Well, all companies have a mission statement, and I call it their purpose for being in business. And I think one of the things that's important is for the companies to understand this is the product and this is the service, the expertise, the knowledge that they have that they are selling in the marketplace, right? For them to understand exactly what that is, and for the people that are promoting that organization or their employees, that they're commuting the exact same thing. And so basically what I do is I look at the company in the same way as I look at an individual. So I get to know what the company is really trying to communicate in the public and in the marketplace, and then match that with what they're wearing. So that the company, when their individuals are promoting the company, that they are saying the same message, that it's in sync. Just like I do an individual. If they're promoting excellence and 5-star quality, that the way they look is saying that before they say a word. A line that I have that's kind of a tagline for my business is, "Your clothing speaks long before you do."
Well, in regards to pounding the pavement in our audience, we talk about, the challenges that other businesses have. One of the things that I was going to ask you was your vision. You talked about your vision for corporate America. You talked a little bit about business casual. It really is such a, it's something that people really don't understand what that is. I think that's one of your kind of key niches, if you will, isn't it? Helping professionals understand that there's different variations of business casual depending on your business, right? Your location. Talk about that a little bit, business casual.
Well, it's a real broad stroke. When they say business casual, I think the biggest difficulty companies have is that they haven't defined really what that is, or they haven't put boundaries on what that is. It's like playing a game of basketball with no out-of-bounds lines. You know, you're shooting from the bleachers, and that's not a game. That changes the whole game. When it comes to business casual, I think what's important for companies to do is that they need to define for their industry, like you said, for their industry, for where they are located, if they're back east or if they're in California. I think that one of the things that they have to do is they have to look at all of those ingredients plus their purpose, their mission statement, and then combine that with the way their people are communicating the message. It doesn't mean that they need to be in a suit without a tie, or does it mean jeans and flip-flops? You know, I think that that's where I really can help a company and individuals to really mentor them through that, to make sure that that their clothing is communicating, speaking before they even do, and that it's speaking the right message. I've had many companies come to me in chaos because what their people are communicating is different than what their company is communicating, where their people are so casual that their customers don't think they're working. They think they're golfing because of what they wear. We as humans, we judge and we perceive, and a lot of times our perception becomes reality. And that's a tough thing. So do you need to dress a little better? It's always better to be a little better dressed than a little underdressed. And that phrase goes very true, especially in business casual. So that's something that is a real big thing right now, especially in the United States. It even is in Europe, but especially in the United States on what is business casual. And I truly think that I can help that because I'm going to get to know them as a company first, their heart, and what they're trying to communicate.
Well, speaking of mentoring, you know, as you know, the Capon community is all about mentoring and collaboration. That's why we're here with the Pounding the Pavement series. Yes. Now, you mentioned your future, your vision is to be a mentor. Yes. You're writing a book, right? Yes. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It's, you know, it's taking a lot of my experiences, the experience that I just mentioned, and to really bring some light to people that are having problems. You know, we're all in the exact same spot in our closet at 6 o'clock in the morning. And so many people have such a hard time there because they don't know what to wear. They're looking at their day and they're saying, well, I'm seeing this person, I'm seeing this person, and I'm seeing this person, or I'm traveling on a trip here, and I've got to go to this, and I've got to go to this. And they're sitting there in their closet going, I have no idea what I'm going to do. And so that's something that I've been able to help people with. And that's really the focus of my book, is to really communicate that out there and to take a lot of the stories, the experiences that I've had, and to help people to, when it comes to building their wardrobe, that they're building their wardrobe based on who they are as an individual. I call them masterpieces that we were created to be, and to really give them the opportunity to add the right pieces into their closet to make them, as I call it, extraordinarily you.
Well, you have so much great information for us, not only for an entrepreneur, business owner, but also your unique business.
Thank you.
And to you, our viewing audience, thank you for joining us on Pounding the Pavement. Visit us at capin.com, where you can find out about more episodes to come. And remember, Capin, for and by Southern California entrepreneurs and innovators. Thanks for joining us.